sheeple, lazy and evil. For years I've watched y'all allow Donald Trump turn you to crazy people. Where's that freedom eagle when you...
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. All right, so let's get right into Dynamite from May the 25th, 2022. So a little news and notes. Tony Khan is talking about the importance of hardcore wrestling fans and how they help grow AEW. This is very interesting. So he says, they're talking about WCW. He says, there was a lot of things that happened with the history of WCW and the rise of WCW and then what became of it. That I think it's really important to remember the hardcore fan. He's responding to Eric Bischoff's critique that they need to grow their audience. He says, I think a great thing about the hardcore fan is the word of mouth. From when I started in high school, wrestling was not cool. When I first got into high school as a function of what was happening with the world of wrestling. And before it had a chance to really get hot as a business, I made a few fans right off the bat as a virus spreading fan. Just by being a hardcore that would rope other people into watching wrestling with me. I think the fact that you was probably the son of a multimillionaire at the time probably helped. Because wrestling was big when I was in middle school. And I think I'm older than Tony Khan. I think I am. But I remember, NWO and DX. That was what, 97? I would have been 13, 14. I wouldn't have been in high school yet. So, that was a pretty big deal, and all of my friends, especially all the boys that I knew, watched wrestling. All of them. 100% of them. And then of course, once you get to like 17, 18, they didn't watch it anymore. Even though it was a TV 14 product by that time. They weren't watching anymore. But everybody in my age group was a wrestling fan. We all played the video games together. WCW and WWF. We all talked about it before we had split off into groups like DX and the NWO. So I don't think you need to really be a hardcore fan. Because I don't think any of us was hardcore fans. None of us was on the internet. We didn't know the inner workings of wrestling. We were just fans. We were kids. So when I think of hardcore fan, I'm thinking beyond you consume the product. That's all we did as kids was consume the product. We couldn't sit down and talk to you intelligently about it. We didn't know the ins and the outs of it. We were just fans, and he says that he was a virus spreading fan. And I was just like, that's the last thing wrestling fans need. After being fat asses who don't shower, don't get laid, the last thing we need now is to be spreading viruses. All right, let's move on. He says, and if you can get some social people, what you can get is really good word of mouth, just like in the film industry and with TV shows, in which we are a TV show. So I think you can grow your TV show by having a big support, hardcore base that you service and support, but also by trying to spread the word and trying to not only spread the word of yourself and get out and engage with the fans, but hopefully have the fans engaging with other fans. So his attempt to grow AEW is going to be by hopefully having a bunch of lonely middle-aged guys talk to other people about his product. That's not going to work. I'm sorry, Tony Khan, that's not going to work, my friend. This would work if you had a crowd full of children. That would work. Because kids are more apt to not have shame. So they will be big fans of things and they'll go right into it and talk about it. That's what I mean by, when we were kids, there was no shame in watching wrestling. Now adults kind of cringe at it. Like they do this all the time when you you hear like Cornette and Brian Last or Disco Inferno or Vince Russo, or even sometimes some of the wrestling journalists could you show this to one of your friends who doesn't watch wrestling and get them to watch it? And they will cringe and be like, nah, I wouldn't be able to do that. It's like, that's adults. That's one of those things where, when you were an adult, you become ashamed of the things that you liked when you were a kid. And some of the things that you keep up with, some people are still kind of ashamed of. Like there's some people who don't talk about, how they read comic books or something like that, or they don't talk about playing video games. Playing video games is fine because, everybody thinks it's all Madden and Call of Duty. If you start talking about how you was waist deep 10 hours into Final Fantasy or something like that, they'll think you a dork. That's kind of how I was in high school. Like, it was cool to play video games as long as it was sports or something with guns in it. If you was talking about something with some fantasy elements, people were going to be like, what are you, a weirdo? Like, what is all this anime girl stuff that you sitting here watching and looking at? What's all this crap? You watching Sailor Moon, nigga? No, it's like, nah, you just like this stuff, Dragon Ball was another thing that was, it was something that almost everybody that I knew watched. So that was easy to have the social contagion when the people that you're engaging with are social people. When the people you are engaging with and your fan base is sort of antisocial and not really the kinds of people who engage, it's not the same thing, and I think Tony Khan needs to recognize that his audience is not the audience that WCW and WWF had in the past. They had a much younger audience, a lot less shame, a lot more likely to get in there and to, spread the word. A lot more likely to run up and ask their friends, did you watch Raw last night? Did you watch Nitro last night? And then talk about it. People are like, oh, it was water cooler. It's like, it was playground talk to me. I couldn't imagine grown folks sitting around talking about Raw. I still can't imagine it, because I don't see it. I never see it. But Raw is a children's product now. And so it's a little bit different. I understand where he's trying to go with it. He's trying to say that, hey, if you have good word of mouth, you can spread. But it's like, you need to do some serious marketing. You can't just rely on word of mouth. That's not going to work. Your fan base is too antisocial for that. So he continues, I think in general, all the fans are important, but you have to remember again, everybody has a beginning. So you want to make fans from the beginning and then hopefully try to make them into hardcore fans. I mean, the more hardcore fan somebody is, that's good, right? Yes and no. Yes, because if you get somebody hooked on your product, that's good. That's a recurring customer. That's for the best. No, because sometimes those people, again, they become isolative and it becomes difficult for them. Like, sure, you may have a hardcore fan base and and your subreddit is banging. Everybody's talking about Dynamite on Baked or on your subreddit or whatever, your Discord or whatever. But if those people don't talk to anybody other than people who watch wrestling, then so what? If WWE their attempts are to always get people who don't watch that stuff to watch that stuff. That's their victory. Their victory is, hey, Jake Paul or Logan Paul or whatever is about to get in the ring. I don't even like wrestling, but I want to see what's going to happen. That's when WWE wins. Because it's so many people who will never watch Raw for the rest of the year. But then they'll hear some crazy stuff like Mike Tyson's going to be on Raw. They're going to be like, wait a minute. I'll at least want to see what's happening. If you tell people, hey, Samoa Joe is going to be on TV tonight, they're going to be like, okay. What the hell does that mean to me? If I'm not a wrestling fan, why do I care if Samoa Joe is going to wrestle in the main event of this show? I don't care. But if you could tell me that some celebrity is going to be there or, something like that, might be a little bit more of an emphasis on making sure I paid attention to it. And that's what WCW did. WCW was loaded with celebrities. Kevin Green, Steve Mongo McMichael came in as a celebrity. Karl Malone, Dennis Rodman, Jay Leno, even the David Arquette stuff. It was an absolute flop. But, Vince Russo's idea was to get more eyeballs on the product and attract more people who weren't traditional wrestling fans. And with him, they ended up bringing his wife, who was on Friends, which is one of the highest rated shows of the era. Vince was doing the same thing, bringing in celebrities and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff that creates word of mouth, and you might be able to attract some people from there. Because now people are talking about the product but it's in curiosity, it's an intrigue. They at least want to see this and how this turns out. It's a little bit different than what Tony Khan is saying, but I understand what he means. I just don't think that the hardcore fan is the right vector in order to get people. Hardcore fans tend to be very off-putting. And the more hardcore they are, is usually the more off-putting they are. It's the same thing with most sports and video games and stuff. Like, the most hardcore fans are mostly the gatekeepers, they're elitists, and all of them are like, comic book guy from The Simpsons. Like, that's a perfect character for all of nerddom. And if you come across like comic book guy from The Simpsons, like, that guy doesn't have any friends. The guy has no social group. It doesn't matter how much you love anything. It's your only friends are going to be people who are already involved. You need to get the popular folks into talking about this thing. But I spent too much time on this one subject. All right, so let's get into Dynamite. So first match, steel cage match with the special guest referees, a double gimmick. Wardlow versus Shawn Spears. So Shawn Spears attacks Wardlow while he's still handcuffed, and MJF helps him. They double team him, stomp him in the corner and everything. Later in the match, MJF dares Wardlow to hit him because he's going to disqualify him if he does. Then he spits in Wardlow's face. Wardlow snaps and breaks the handcuffs. That was a great spot. He destroys Spears. Spears gets a chair somehow. He tries to hit Wardlow with the chair. Wardlow moves. He blasts MJF in a head, unprotected headshot, by the way. This led to MJF being down for the rest of the match. Wardlow powerbomb Symphony, even powerbombs Shawn Spears on the chair. Pins him 1, 2, 3. A second referee comes in. Absolutely fantastic booking of Wardlow here. He's super over. He comes across like an absolute monster. He did a great job. Only person who really gets buried here is Shawn Spears because he got pinned. But it was great. MJF looked awesome. He tried to take a fan sign, but the fan moved the sign away. So he didn't even get the sign. He didn't get to snatch the sign. So this was all good. I normally don't like Shawn Spears, and I still don't. I think he's one of the most useless individuals ever born. But I'm okay with this. It was good. He was good at getting enough heat to get Wardlow over. That was his job. This is episodic storytelling. All of the elements from the previous week made sense here. You had security guys come in to save MJF because Wardlow was about to powerbomb him too. So you had the handcuffs, which was, an MJF thing. MJF as the referee. He was questioning how Wardlow was going to get out of this situation. I thought it was going to be a Steve Austin McMahon thing where he would use MJF's hand to count to 3. That's what I thought he was going to do. But they went with second referee. I was like, okay, I'll accept that as a acceptable finish. So I have no problems with this Wardlow thing, just hopefully this keeps Shawn Spears off my TV. Oh, it won't. The Jericho Appreciation Society, they bully a guy for wearing a Jon Moxley t-shirt. Then, what happens when you wear a Jon Moxley t-shirt? Wow, flash. You say in comics, flash. Jericho fireballs the guy, and he says, "You get fireballs because I'm a wizard." And I was like, "Oh, lordy, lordy, lord." Can we save the fireball? Like, why are we abusing it like this? Like, we don't need to fireball everybody, okay? And this wizard thing, I wish he could stop it. He would stop it. This leads to the match later, which Jericho cuts off Judas early so that the crowd can't sing it. It's like finally they're doing something to get some heat around here. So Jericho sat at commentary for the next match, which was along with William Regal, as Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston versus Private Party. And this match was obviously just Private Party taking hella bumps. They don't remember when Private Party was supposed to be like the next guys up. They were having these really long matches with the Young Bucks, and they even put the Young Bucks even put them over. And everybody's like, "Oh man, Private Party, they're going to be the next thing." here it is 3 years later, and Private Party is the janitors of the tag team division. They just take bumps and flop around. It is what it is. But this featured Eddie Kingston having one of those guys in a neck crank for a good 3 or 4 minutes. The guy's just in the ring getting his head twisted, and the referee's sitting right there and not saying anything, not admonishing that at all. This guy's tapping out and and Moxley's doing everything under the sun to the other guy. They're all in the ring together. I was just like, look, man, please end this. And thankfully they do. Thankfully they do. Kingston and Moxley win. Then the Jericho Appreciation Society jumped them. They ran down to the ring, and Moxley and Kingston, being tough guys, they met them on the ramp. This led to a big fight scene and everybody being pulled apart. And Aubrey Edwards had her 2 hands full of Chris Jericho. You talk about the wizard. What you got under that robe, dog? All right. I could have done without this match. I don't think we needed this match. What do we need this match for? Okay, so we proved that Moxley and Kingston are still buddies. We already knew that. I don't think this furthered the storyline at all. I think it's basically filler in terms of the story, and maybe they'll just chop this up for the video package. But I didn't see anything in this match that felt like, this match needed to happen. That's just me, though. All right, so we got Hangman Page and CM Punk, which apparently was one of the greatest promo segments of all time, except for the fact that it had an absolute donut hole in the middle of it. So let's try to work this out together. So CM Punk says the following, that he was walking in the challenger, he would be walking out the champion. Hangman Page just says that there's nothing you can do to take this title away from me. And Punk says, why are you taking this personally? This is my title match. This is just business. You're the champ for a reason. I respect you, man. Page says that, I said I was going to embarrass you, but I didn't mean that at Double or Nothing. I meant right now. And he says, I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this for months, to light a pipe bomb, roll it at your feet, and watch it explode. But that's what you would do, because you're petty and cowardly. He says, I have pity for you. I don't respect you. You don't get what it means to be the champion. What it means to be the champion is when the red lights go off. Then he says, you talk about workers' rights, but what workers' rights have you done? Says that I love this place, and I will not be defending the AEW world title. I will be defending AEW from you. And people were like, oh, Hangman burnt them. Hangman scorched them. And CM Punk was just kind of like, I don't understand why you're so upset. And it's like, I don't either. He says that, well, if you upset that I'm here, do something about it on Sunday. Said the road you traveled was paved by me. I gave you the blueprint to build AEW, and you will shake my hand. And you're not mad at me. You're mad at myself. Then he corrected himself and said, you're mad at yourself. Then he demanded that Hangman Page shake his hand, and Hangman smacked him. Punk fell to the floor and smiled. Now, Hangman showed tremendous fire in this promo segment. Big problem with this, Hangman said nothing. I don't know what his problem with CM Punk is. Now, I saw a lot of people online, and this is why I actually do looking at Twitter, because I sometimes I do miss things. I'm multitasking sometimes. I'm taking notes. I'm watching the show. Sometimes I miss things. I go to the bathroom, stuff happens, So I'm waiting to see if anybody else saw or heard why Hangman Page has a beef with CM Punk. And I saw a lot of people headcanon this thing. Oh, well, Hangman Page is wearing a white shirt. CM Punk is wearing a black shirt. And I'm like, okay. And then people are like, but, CM Punk, he didn't help build AEW. And I was like, then why didn't Hangman Page say that? Like, why didn't Hangman Page say, like, I'm tired of guys like you coming in here, getting opportunities ahead of, I should be defending the title against, and you should pick out some guy, Powerhouse Hobbs, but yet I'm sitting here wrestling you. I should be defending the title against Ricky Starks, people who've been here, not guys like you. That would have been on the nose, you telling me what your problem with CM Punk is. But he danced around it by saying, that he's pitiful and he doesn't respect him. And I'm like, what did CM Punk do to Hangman or AEW that would get us to that point? I don't know. I don't know. Like, for all of his bluster, he said nothing. He said nothing. And it sucks because this was one of his better performances, but he missed the big, there's a big donut hole in this thing. I don't know what he's mad about. I'm not sure what he's mad about. I'm not sure where the anger comes from. What's the source of the heat? I don't know, man. Whatever. I'm just an idiot watching wrestling shows. Jade Cargill and Anna Jay had a vignette. I don't understand why we needed this. I don't understand why this match is even happening. I swear to Jesus, why is this match even happening? Anna Jay isn't even on TV. Is she about to get a pay-per-view spot? I don't know, man. Stupid. The Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships, FTR versus Roppongi Vice. Roppongi Vice. And to be quite honest, I cannot. Trying to get me to watch a Rocky Romero match, good fucking luck. It was on. Did I watch it? This match had no heat. It's babyface versus babyface. The only cool thing about it is that Caprice Coleman was on commentary. I didn't feel the need to sit down and study this. I'm guessing it was a fine technical athletic endeavor, but nothing was accomplished, Then the Jeff Cobb and the Great O'Khan run down to the ring and beat up both teams. And I just remember sitting there and I was just stupefied. Like, what do these guys want? Like Jeff Cobb, he ain't been there in 2 years, has he? Like, I think Jeff Cobb made an appearance in year 1. I think it was, or was it the beginning of year 2? It was one of them. He ain't been there in a long time. And Great O'Khan, this is his debut. There's no storyline build up to this. This is all, the forbidden door is open. I'm like, maybe we should close it. Like, I don't. Jeff Cobb? Great O'Khan? Oh, Lord have mercy. Then Great O'Khan goes on to botch 2 of the spots. The second one wasn't his fault. The first one, it was supposed to be like an assisted neck breaker or something like that, and Great O'Khan's timing was off. But that, Jeff Cobb powerbombs somebody through a table, and then Great O'Khan sets up another table. He's going to Iron Claw Trent Beretta through the table. That was the plan. It's going to be like a gas mask. He's going to grab him by the head, lift him up, put him through the table. That's the plan. Great O'Khan grabs him by the head in the Von Erich claw. He does a taunt like, "Wah!" And as he's taunting, Trent Beretta just decided to jump through the fucking table. He's like, "Oh, go!" and just jumped. And even Great O'Khan was like, "Oh, let's just go with it." Holy shit, what sloppy garbage this was. Oh, this was garbage. And the United Empire, which is the stable led by Will Ospreay, who is not there because he's got bad kidneys. I'm not laughing at Will Ospreay's bad kidneys. I'm laughing at Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb being out here. So, they go in the ring and hold up the Ring of Honor tag team titles. And I'm like, you couldn't wait 4 or 5 minutes and do this after the fact. I get it. They just wanted to get out of this match without Roppongi Vice losing, or FTR. But it's like, what are we protecting Roppongi Vice for? They suck. They're at most boring. All right, So they have nothing. They are nothing. It's okay for us to beat them, But Great O'Khan, I'm familiar with the Great O'Khan. I've watched enough New Japan to know who he is. Of course, I'm familiar with Jeff Cobb. I don't care about this though. Jeff Cobb shaved, so he don't have that gnarly goatee anymore, which makes him look like a tough guy. Now he kind of looks like one of a knockoff Anoa'i. He needs to go and get his his goatee back. But this, of course, was an absolute flagrant foul. This sucked. The Hardys cut a promo. Matt Hardy talked about the similarities between the Hardys and the Young Bucks. That they were all good kids raised by wholesome families. They were wrestling fans who got into the business together. And then said that we don't smoke, we don't drink, we didn't even curse. I'm like, okay, you mean then, right? Because we know the Hardy Boys with the drugs and the alcohol. We know the Hardy Boys like a party. We used to call them the Party Boys. So we already know. But then Matt starts talking about how the brutal roads of the 90s, the Young Bucks couldn't walk those roads because they didn't have the fortitude. And that I'm going to tell you what I see when I see you, and what everybody else sees is you're a Hardy cosplayer. This, of course, is a response to the Young Bucks changing their Twitter bio to how they're better than all of the tag teams from the 90s. And I'm just kind of like, okay, sure. That's like, saying, we're going to St. Louis and you saying the Rams suck. Like, oh yeah, the St. Louis Rams suck. They suck so bad. Boo. Just generic boo. Like, you're a better tag team than the Dudleys or Edge and Christian or the Hardy Boys. Boo. Contrived boo. Cliche boo. Yeah, sure. If you say so, pal. You dudes wouldn't even got on the roster. You'd have been goddamn referees and timekeepers. You wouldn't have got on the roster in the 90s. You guys are not fit to sweep up dust outside the ring. You aren't fit to unhook Sting. You're a goddamn ring boy scandal waiting to happen. In any event, Jeff Hardy comes in and he starts saying that we're not in our prime, man. We're in our over prime. And I was like, oh, that's a nice spin on it. We're in our over prime. Like, we're above our prime. We're dangling over that shit, looking down on our prime. He was making goat noises. And I was like, some people like the goat noises. I was like, why? Just why? It makes no sense. And I was like, yeah, we need to move on. Okay. So my question is, what do we do with the Hardys? Win or lose? What do we do with the Hardys after this match? After they wrestle the Hardy Boys. They wrestling themselves. After they wrestle the Young Bucks, what do we do with them? What's the next angle for the Hardy Boys? Or they just go to dark and that's it. Because the Young Bucks barely wrestle now. And do the Hardy Boys win? I don't know. The Hardy Boys, should they win? I don't know. It's like, I don't see a path forward for either one of these teams. It's like FTR is hot as fish grease right now, but they're not going to be the guys who are going to be the champions or positioned towards the titles. Maybe the Young Bucks will do the job and they will steer the Hardy Boys towards Jurassic Express. And so we can have the Hardys and Christian in a feud against each other, which seems to be maybe the direction they'll be going in. Double back to what I was talking about earlier when you was talking about the hardcore fan. How many fans, remember Christian and the Hardys and their epic feud from 22 years ago? How many fans, who, it's like, come on, those people are all adults now. And I can just see him doing that because it seemed like the kind of Mark thing he would do. You're like, oh, Christian has a history with the Hardy Boys. We'll just have Jurassic Express be there and maybe we'll turn them heel, or at least turn Christian heel in a feud with the Hardy Boys. I don't know, man. It just feels like something he would do. All right, so Ricky Starks, Jungle Boy, and Swerve Strickland have an athletic endeavor, a triple threat match that was just reasons it occurred. It's another one of those things where I watched bits and pieces of it. I saw the Swerve in Our Glory shirt and I said, this is a horrible, weak as fuck name. It's not witty, it's not clever, it sucks. It sucks. Swerving our glory. What does that mean? What does that mean? That sucks. Swerve Strickland wins the match by beating Ricky Starks. It's the first time I've seen Ricky Starks lose in a long time. So that means something. They avoided beating Jungle Boy, so that was a thing. Hobbs came in after the match, beat up everybody until Luchasaurus came in there. And then they started fighting, and Keith Lee came down, of course, and the big boys started throwing hands. The segment ends with Keith Lee doing a tope, a spinning joint, which no doubt tore up his knees, even though he got up pretty quickly. I know his knees hurt like hell. You can't hide it. I know what it's like when you stub your toe or something like that, but people are watching, so you're like, I can't show no pain. I can't show no pain, but it hurts like hell. I could tell when his knees clapped that floor. I know you felt that. And that Negro like 37 and like 400 pounds. I know he felt that. I know we're around the same age. I know if I fall down, I hurt my knees. My knees make that sound on that mat. Shit, I'd have got up rubbing my shins. I'd have been like Peter Griffin, like. I know that's what he was doing as soon as he got to the back. He probably had Mia Yim rubbing his shins, rubbing his kneecaps, like. He'd stop doing that. Stop doing it. Don't do it no more. Next, we got America Top Team. Dan Lambert promising Scorpio Sky that he has a customized TNT title because that dweeb Sammy Guevara, he destroyed the other TNT championship by beating it with a hammer or some such. And Lambert was like, "Oh, that's no big deal. I know some of the best belt makers in the world." I'm like, "Oh well, okay, Batman. You just have the answer to all the questions." Never mind that you busted the belt up. Now, apparently the mixed tag match that Sammy and Tay wanted is not going to happen because Lambert says that, they thought breaking the belt would get them what they want, but they don't understand that we have the best belt makers in the world. And I was like, so we're not getting the mixed tag match? Did we spend all this time building up to the mixed tag match and now we can't have it? Oh, maybe it's because Sammy Guevara damn near killed himself in that ladder match. Maybe. I know Tay is not hurt. She was wrestling in Mexico, but Sammy Guevara didn't. So they're not going to have the match because Sammy Guevara is hurt. Okay, so why shoot the angle where he breaks the belt then? Oh, because now we have to introduce Scorpio Sky's customized TNT title. Why couldn't it be somebody else breaking the belt then? He can't wrestle. Why are we continuing this? Like, there's tons of people on this goddamn roster who probably could use the push, even if it's just a temporary thing. Like Dante Martin or somebody like that. It would have been, maybe breaking the belt would have been a little bit extreme for a guy like him. But we could have done something with somebody else who could actually feud with Scorpio Sky, But I don't know. This TNT title doesn't mean dick. It doesn't mean a damn thing. So who cares if you customize it? You can put hubcaps on that bitch if you want to. It ain't gonna make no bit of damn difference. So Thunder Rosa comes out there, and she's cutting the promo. She got this red cowboy hat on, and it's so distracting. She notes that she's not wearing her makeup and says she wants everybody to see her face. It says that she called herself Mel, which I think is her real name. It says that she works for everything and she doesn't complain, because that's what champs do. And Serena Deeb blames everybody but herself. She needs to look in the mirror for her cosmetic changes. And I was like, yes, her body, her choice. She got boob job on her own. Then she says that take a good look at my face because Sunday the war paint comes on. And then she's going to make her pay for disrespecting Tony, for disrespecting her mentor Dustin, and for disrespecting La Meta. And as she's like waiting for the crowd to react, she's about to talk and then her music starts to play. And I'm like, oh no. Oh no, this is like the Grammys. This is like the Oscars or something. She went over time and they wrap it up, B. Just decided to start playing her music. Like it's over. It's over. She was on a roll too. She actually was having one of the better promos. The The best Thunder Rosa promos is when she slows down and she can talk clearly. She did that here. She gave herself some time to slow down and speak clearly. So I understood what she was saying. I understood her frustrations. I still don't think there's nearly enough heat between her and Deeb. It's not enough heat. I don't think enough people will care about this match. I think this match is going to have a dead crowd, and it doesn't need to, but it was unfortunate that, Thunder Rosa went overtime and he decided to play music over her. So let that go. All right. So Red Velvet, was pretty bitter and mad because she lost to Chris Statlander. So she gave Ruby Soho a dossier on Chris Statlander because apparently she was friends, and like Batman or the Black Panther, she keeps a dossier on all her friends and how to beat them. So then she tells Ruby Soho that, oh, hey, Chris Statlander has an injured knee. Did you know that? And Ruby Soho is like, okie dokie, sure. So as Red Velvet sees her way out, Ruby Soho says that she barely beat Chris Statlander in the TBS title tournament and knows that she's wrestling a different Statlander now. But so she doesn't need this dossier. So she throws the file down. But then says that, since it's going to be a different Statlander, she may keep it in mind. I'm like, what the fuck you throw it down for then? Can we make that Red Velvet's new gimmick? Is she just like, she's like a spy or something like that? She has like dossiers on everybody. Like she has like a USB port with like information on Britt Baker on it or something like that. And she's selling these things. That could be interesting. It'd be far more interesting in her. She's interested in the baddie section because she actually has a personality. But Ruby Soho doesn't. She doesn't have a personality at all. Now, on the subject of Chris Statlander. Now, Chris Statlander will be wrestling... I forgot. Damn, I forgot. Oh, it was Ruby Soho. Yeah. Damn, that shows you I was paying attention. They'll be wrestling on Rampage. As of this recording, I did not look at the spoilers. I don't know who won. I don't care. Ultimately, I think that it doesn't matter who wins that match because I think we know who wins the tournament. That being said, Chris Statlander recently did a interview where she talked about why she dumped the alien gimmick and said she didn't feel like she was being taken seriously. And it's like, you created an alien gimmick. What about that was supposed to be serious? I mean, please don't be delusional. Statlander, please don't be delusional. You knew when you decided you were going to touch people's noses like E.T. that people was going to laugh and chuckle at that shit. That it's going to be nothing but a barrel of goddamn laughs. You knew that. Come on. You were trying to be entertaining and it didn't work out. People didn't get it or they hated it or you didn't go far enough. She should have been, like something out of Star Trek, go full alien. She was just wearing like face paint. She should have had like her own language and everything. Like, if you're going to go stupid, go full stupid. Like Glacier is perfect. Mortis, Raph, all that kind of stuff. Atom Bomb. If you're going to go out there and with a character, man, just go full born with it. Flame the fuck out. Don't half-ass it by being only partially in the suit. Go dive right in. Be like the goon. Commit to the bit. I'm talking change everything. Screwball Shorts that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Go full born with it. You can't just be like, oh, I'm an alien now. Like, that's the one thing about Luchasaurus that, now that his gimmick is, at least it's more like a dinosaur, as opposed to him trying to be intelligent monster when he was, trying to spit the dictionary at you every time he talked. She should have just went full alien. Like she didn't understand human emotions. She should have been like Data from Star Trek or something like that, like a cyborg or something like that, where she didn't understand humans. That would have been great. It might have been great. You never know. At least it would have been funnier than her just touching people's noses. But she thought she was going to be taken seriously. It's like, surely you jest. All right. So the semifinals of the women's tournament, Britt Baker versus Toni Storm. Britt Baker defeats Toni Storm, but here's the story of the match. Britt Baker comes out with Jamie Hayter and Reba. She sends Reba and Jamie Hayter back. She doesn't need them. So Jamie Hayter comes back out as Toni Storm is winning, and Britt Baker continuously says that she doesn't need Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter still manages to distract Toni while Toni had Britt Baker beat. She eats a forearm smash for her trouble. A convoluted thing where I'm thinking it's an Alabama Slam, Deadeye type of situation. It was real ugly. Very awkward. But Britt Baker gets Toni Storm's shoulders down. She cradles the arm, grabs the ropes, pin. And so Britt Baker wins. And I say this was a bad decision on two different levels. Level one, Toni Storm should have won this match. Britt Baker doesn't need it. So that's level one, is Toni Storm should have won. Level two, if Toni Storm was going to lose this match, then it should have been because of Jamie Hayter. Yes, Jamie Hayter was kind of a distraction, but she played no part in the finish. If she would have been, I'm guessing she was supposed to hold Britt Baker's hand, because she ran over as Britt Baker grabbed the ropes. Jamie Hayter ran over and kind of grabbed Britt Baker's hand, kind of like she was trying to help. So I'm thinking that's maybe what she was supposed to do, and she just kind of blew the spot. But why was she out there if she played no part in the finish? She just played a minor distraction role, and it didn't go directly into the finish. I think they did some more stuff after her distraction. But I think that the storyline here was a perfect setup to spin Britt Baker out of this story, meaning that Jamie Hayter was told to go to the back. She came back out anyway. She distracted not only Toni Storm, but also Britt Baker. And Britt Baker gets pinned by Toni Storm. Now Britt Baker can blame her loss in the tournament on Jamie Hayter. You know? And we could continue the beef that's been going on between them two. Toni Storm gets to beat the former women's champion. She gets to go to the finals of the tournament. She gets over a little bit. And Britt Baker still is not lost in the shuffle because now she's got this thing with Jamie Hayter. And now that's a new thing she has to deal with. I think that's the better way to do this. Having Britt Baker win this match tells me Britt Baker is winning the tournament. Because there's nobody on the other side that I can see beating her. The options are Britt Baker, Chris Statlander, or Rumby Soho. I'm sorry. And plus, you brought Toni Storm in as one of your hot free agents. What was the purpose of bringing her in if you was not going to push her? This thing should have been, okay, make as many stars as possible. If you want to consider Jade Cargill a star on her own, and you want to say that, okay, we got this thing with Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb. Okay, so why do we still need Britt Baker? You know, have Britt Baker lose, but she still is in a storyline because now she's in a storyline with Jamie Hayter, and Toni Storm can go to the next level and wrestle in the finals. You could have showcased more women. You know, that's my thing. So I was not thrilled by Britt Baker winning. To me, it just seemed kind of bleh. You know, it was like Jarrett winning in TNA. It's like, okay, sure, whatever. The finals of the men on this tournament is set as Samoa Joe and Kyle O'Reilly have a very physical bout. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. It was, you know, stiff, hard hitting. You know, Joe absolutely destroyed Kyle O'Reilly's knees with like a rolling thing at one point. It looked brutal. It looked pretty bad, bro. I still enjoy Samoa Joe's matches, man. This was fun, you know. So I was down for this. You know, would I ever watch it again? I don't know. You know, maybe I didn't like it that much. Samoa Joe was obviously he's burnt out. You know, he's very, very tired at one point in this match. He was just holding his head randomly. I'm like, does he got vertigo? Is the room spinning, Joe? You know, hold on, brother. Hold on a little bit longer. So Joe wins. No shenanigans after the match other than Adam Cole coming out there to stare them down. Adam Cole and Samoa Joe will wrestle each other at Double or Nothing. Okay, you know, I think most of this tournament has been a rib on Owen Hart, though. Owen Hart was a notorious ribber. And I'm thinking at this tournament, like this whole tournament has been basically a rib, especially that whole Darby Allin, Jeff Hardy thing. You know, what a joke that was. What a laughing stock that was. But the finals for the men at least is going to be pretty good. It's going to be Samoa Joe versus Adam Cole. They teased this actually, what was it, earlier this year or last year? In NXT, they actually teased these two guys wrestling each other. They just never got around to it, I don't believe. So, it's AEW trying to reap the benefits of storylines WWE did before. And it's cool, I think they wrestled in Ring of Honor too before. I'm not sure. I have to think about it a little bit more because I don't know my Ring of Honor, especially late stage Ring of Honor. I don't know it that well. But interesting stuff, Interesting stuff. No. They said this is the first time they're ever going to wrestle. Yeah. So this is the first time they're ever going to wrestle. That's going to be fun, That is until Adam Cole wins. That's going to suck. That's going to blow chunks, bruh. All right. So while I have y'all here and I still have some time, you want to do the predictions for Double or Nothing now, so I won't have to do them in a separate video. Okay, sure. All right. Let's get into Double or Nothing. So buy-in, Danhausen and Hook versus Tony Nese and Mark Sterling. Come on, bruh. Who cares about this shit? Really. None of these people are worth talking about. Danhausen and Hook are going to win because Mark Sterling is wrestling in a match. Fuck out of here. MJF and Wardlow. Or MJF versus Wardlow. Now, the only logical way to end this is for Wardlow to win and win his freedom. My fear is that there is no second gear for Wardlow. After he wins his freedom, maybe he continues his feud with MJF, this time as a full-time AEW wrestler, and they probably have another match or two, in which case Wardlow would then, of course, win the feud. That question would then come, what does Wardlow do after that? What does Wardlow do after MJF? What does MJF do after Wardlow? That's the problem when you kind of build something up for the long term like this, is now, you would position MJF as a contender for the title if he wins, If Wardlow wins, then he wins his freedom, but now he does what with who? I think it's going to definitely affect the amount of overness, if that's even a term, that Wardlow will have. It's going to definitely affect how over he is, because it's directly related to who he's feuding with. People's dislike of MJF. And since nobody else has the same heat as MJF, any feud Wardlow has could potentially be a downgrade, Maybe he feuds with Jericho or something. All right, tag team match, the Young Bucks versus the Hardy Boys. I can see the Hardy Boys winning just so we can do Hardy Boys versus Jurassic Express, and so we could have those Christian and Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy going against each other type of things. That nostalgia. So I think I'm going to go with them and go with the Hardy Boys, even though they got no business at wrestling, And I think that they're going to be pretty much done after they have a feud with Jurassic Express, because I don't see much gas in the Hardys. I don't see that much left in them. 6-man tag team match, the House of Black versus the Death Triangle. Considering nothing is on the line here, does it really matter who wins? Like, I typically, this is going to be Buddy Matthews' first pay-per-view match, but it's only going to be his second televised match, match on TV, second or third. He's had, it's still on one hand, So, I would guess Death Triangle would win the match because they haven't won a match in this feud yet, which is, I don't even know if you want to call it a feud, because the feuds usually have a reason to occur. This is just, hey, I like all of these guys, throw them in one match. So, I don't know. I'm going to go with Death Triangle. How about that? Anarchy in the Arena, the Blackpool Combat Club, Eddie Kingston, Santana and Ortiz versus the Jericho Appreciation Society. I don't know what Anarchy in the Arena is, but look, the star power tells me that Blackpool Combat Club, Eddie Kingston, Santana and Ortiz is going to win. I mean, you really going to beat Moxley, Danielson, and Kingston with Jericho and a team of guys who again, are not fit to carry Jericho's socks. These guys suck. Put some stars in Jericho's society, please. For fuck's sake, come on. Give me a break. Everybody bleeds, though. I think everybody's going to bleed. The Owen Hart Women's Tournament Finals. All right, so by the time you guys hear this, the Rampage results will probably already be out, and I'm just going to guess that Ruby Soho is going to win. That's going to be my guess. So I'm going to say that on the Owen Hart Women's Final is probably going to be Britt Baker. It's probably going to win the tournament. Not likely to be a big deal. It's actually going to be quite anticlimactic because the men's final, I'm going with Adam Cole. So I'm going with Cole and Dr. Britt Baker both to win the Owen Hart semi-tournaments as sort of a power couple in AEW. And considering Britt Baker doesn't have much going for her right now, she's not the champion anymore, therefore she's not the focal point anymore. That seems to be, I guess, something worth going to. And Adam Cole has been dragged through the goddamn mud. He looks awful pretty much every week in AEW now. Either he's small as hell, skinny as hell, forgetting where the cameras are. His offense is looking weak. His match is full of botches. He needs to tighten up. He needs some pressure. He needs to put some pressure on him. He'll get better. But I definitely think that Adam Cole is going to defeat Samoa Joe. You might have some chicanery with Satnam Singh and Jay Lethal in order to protect the title because he is carrying the belt. So maybe, he'll, get jobbed out. So next, TBS Championship, Jade Cargill versus Anna Jay. Why is Anna Jay even here? I don't even understand. So we're going to go with Jade Cargill. It seems pretty silly to me that we even put Anna Jay on this card. AEW World Tag Team titles. Jurassic Express versus Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland versus Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. Now, because I picked the Hardy Boys to go over on the Young Bucks and feud with Jurassic Express so that they can have the Christian versus Hardy Boys thing, I'm going to have to go away from my heart. This is my heart versus my brain. Because my heart wants Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs to be the tag team champions in AEW. I feel like there's no better time to put the belts on them, and these two guys are not two guys that, that are in the mix. They're not always in the mix. They're not always the focal point. They're not always the focus. They're not always important. So maybe they're not going to get the look. But Hobbs and Starks should certainly be the tag team champions. And if there was any justice in the wrestling universe, Starks and Hobbs would become the tag team champions. All right. AEW Women's World Title match. Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb. Okay, Thunder Rosa is going to win. There's no reason for Deeb to win. Deeb is the Dean Malenko of the women's division. You can use her as a routine competition, but she can never be the champion. She can't be the face of the division. Unless it's a underdog babyface type of story where she Rocky Balboa's that joint. She wins it and then maybe loses it 2 or 3 weeks later to somebody else. I just don't see it with Deeb. It's not enough heat on this feud anyway. It's going to be a straight up mid-card match. AEW World Title, Hangman Adam Page versus CM Punk. Now, a lot of people think CM Punk is going to be very nice and put Adam Page over. And I don't think it matters much to CM Punk anyway. At this point in his career, he's just happy being treated like a legend because he knows that probably wouldn't be the case in WWE. He'd probably be treated like everybody else. But he's getting everybody's calling him a legend and they're blowing smoke up his ass and everybody loves him. He doesn't have to be the champion. Being a champion is a lot of responsibility. He might not want that, especially since he's doing a lot of political stuff on Twitter and everything. Hangman Page is much different. But he might not want all the attention, But I'll tell you this, AEW is better off with CM Punk being the champion. I can tell you that much right now. CM Punk being the champion is for the best when it comes to AEW. And he needs to start doing media and stuff like that. He needs to be the one of the guys that is far more vocal about AEW and how awesome or whatever it is, I know that he's prickly, he's grumpy, he's not the right guy for that role, but he needs to make himself that guy for that role. You know, if he really wants to help this company, he's going to have to get over himself, you know, or he could continue being who he is and fuck the company over. You know, Adam Page is not, he's not strong enough. There's not enough. He's just not enough, you know. So I would take the belt off of him, personally. I would put the belt on Punk. I think that would be smart. You know, you could revisit the MJF feud later, I guess. You could also move on with some other guys, some younger guys, if that's really what you wanted to do. But I don't think we need to be stuck on Hangman Page. I don't think we need him. You know, we can move away from Hangman Page. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe. And I will talk to you guys later, man. Peace out.
Skin tone, so why attach yourself and piggyback the wealth you didn't earn or lack yourself? I'm telling you to own up to your own success and failures. It's a